Welcome back to Cluedo. Our audience of detectives are about to incriminate a murderer. And just a reminder, in case you've lost track a little bit, that the weapons in this game are a tie, a gold brick, an antique gun, a bayonet, some rat poison, and a knitting needle. But now it's the best part of the show, the time when we actually get to interrogate the suspects themselves. And here they are. Mrs. Peacock, Mrs. White, the Reverend Green, Colonel Mustard, Professor Plum, and Miss Scarlet. One of these 6 suspects is the murderer. Now it's time for the detectives to ask questions. Who's got a question that they want to ask? Right up here, what's your name?
Bev.
Bev, who do you want to interrogate?
Colonel Mustard.
Off you go.
Where did you go when you left the billiard room?
At the time when we heard Mrs. Peacock shrieking in the corridor?
Right.
Oh, we went straight to the kitchen, my dear.
Right, and where did you go after then?
After that, I went to the study,
Right.
and then to the billiard room where I returned my billiard cue.
And was Professor Plum still there when you got back?
Professor Plum came with me, in fact, to his study, and I left him there.
Okay, and what's your name down here?
Joe.
Joe, who do you want to question?
Reverend Green.
Yes, Joe.
What exactly were you going to do with the knitting needle?
I'd like to plunge it into his heart, actually. I wanted to kill the man with it. You're still your witness, Joe. Still your witness.
A bit evasive, but I'll stick with that for now.
Okay, right, yeah. Oh, did you have one next to Joe?
For Professor Plum.
Yes.
Why did you take off your tie in that menacing manner and say, refer to Buzz Bradshaw as a claim jumper? What did you mean by that?
Well, I meant he was a claim jumper because he'd said that he was going to take over Brenda Bella. And I think at that point in the pool room I just decided that I'd had enough and I no longer wanted to associate myself with him, which is what the tie was all about.
Right, yeah, and there's a question down here from...
Joanne.
Joanne, who do you want to talk to?
Colonel Mustard.
Right.
Yes, Joanne.
Right, Colonel Mustard, why have you told everyone that you were a colonel when you were only doing KP duty in Vietnam?
My dear, there is nothing wrong with the catering corps. Napoleon said an army marches on its stomach, and how true.
Actually, it was
And I was
Wellington.
quite proud to serve my country in that way. It was who?
I believe, Colonel, it was Wellington.
Well, in your boot.
Joanne, you're not a military historian by any chance, are you?
No.
Just a bit better read about the history of warfare than Colonel Mustard is, I see. And who am I talking to over here?
Kevin.
Kevin, who do you want to talk to?
Miss Scarlett.
Rightio.
Miss Scarlett, what kind of relationship did you have with Buzz?
I had an intimate relationship with him.
How long had you known him?
I only met him that morning.
Rightio. I think that tells us a wealth of information. Let's go back to Brenda Bella now, where Sergeant Bogong is commencing his line of questioning.
You'll forgive me if this sounds somewhat blunt, Miss Scarlett, but I have reason to believe that you had more than just a business relationship with the deceased.
Don't see how that's relevant to your investigation, Sergeant.
Where I stand, everything's relevant.
All right, we were intimately involved, as you put it, but every girl's entitled to one little indiscretion.
As long as it doesn't cause too many regrets.
Thankfully, I don't suffer from regrets.
Oh, I think a woman like you would do almost anything to keep a good name.
It's a little late for that, I'm afraid, Sergeant.
Miss Scarlett, may I have your hand?
Sergeant, there's a time and a place.
It is police business.
Oh? And if you were to ask for something else on police business?
I'm just interested in your hand. The rest of you is relatively safe. Do you ever wear any other colour in your nails?
Only red.
And what did Peter Plum have to say about all this?
Peter and I have a modern relationship, Sergeant. We allow each other our freedom.
That's very sophisticated.
No, you're just very old-fashioned.
And how does your modern morality feel about murder?
All right, I admit it.
So you were jealous.
Oh, I was bitterly jealous, Sergeant. I felt betrayed.
But I thought you and Miss Scarlett had an understanding.
We do. She understands my need to see other women and understands she's not to see other men.
I believe Buzz Bradshaw gave you a gift.
That's right. A black tie with a red embroidered smiley face on it.
Where is it now?
I gave it to the Sisters of Charity Opportunity Shop.
When was this?
Last night.
How?
I put it in a padded postal bag, and put it in the postal box.
What a strange way to knot a tie. Ah, Miss Scarlett. You lost something.
Sergeant, you startled me. I was just, looking for my sunglasses.
Sorry, I haven't seen them.
Can't tell you how distressing this has been.
Well, it's not every week, Mrs. Peacock, that you have a murder committed under your roof. Now, about Buzz Bradshaw. Had your paths ever crossed before?
Sergeant, there are 250 million people in the United States of America. There are still one or two that I haven't met.
Sarcasm always makes me suspicious, Mrs. Peacock.
I never laid eyes on Buzz Bradshaw before.
This gun's been fired recently.
I don't know how, it's purely ornamental.
It's been bored out. I assure you, it's quite workable.
I don't know anything about guns.
Well, let me tell you something interesting, Mrs. Peacock. Forensic can carry out tests on hands that will determine whether a person has fired a gun within the last 24 hours. Oh, by the way, have you read Bradshaw's autobiography?
No.
Curiously enough, there are 4 pages missing from this.
Really?
Yes. I went to the trouble of getting another copy. Have you any idea what the missing section is about?
I haven't the faintest idea.
Well, seemingly it's an anecdote from Bradshaw's youth about a young girl called Elizabeth. Would you like me to read it to you? It seems she was a thief.
All right, Sergeant. You win. I did know Buzz Bradshaw. We came from the same country town, Toadwater, Minnesota.
Please go on.
I was 16. I worked as a receptionist at a squeaky clean hygiene company. Their main line was toothbrush holders.
Word perfect so far.
My mother wasn't well, and we were practically penniless. So I stole a large sum of money from the company to pay for her operation. Yesterday, Bradshaw threatened to report me to the police and have me extradited. Well, I couldn't stand going back to that tiny, boring town and that grubby, loathsome jail. So I was going to shoot him. I practiced all day shooting the gun. I couldn't go through with it. I could never shoot another human being. I was going to have Mike do it for me.
She's such a lady of refinement. Now, we've seen a fair few clues, and now I think it's time to venture an accusation. I'm going to ask Andrew here to tell me what he's got on his control panel.
We've got Mrs. White
Mrs. White,
with a knitting needle
with the knitting needle,
and possibly the dining room.
impossibly the dining room. Mrs. White, with the knitting needle in the dining room. One of those is correct. Okay, we'll be back with more information after this short break.